What's up, everybody? Welcome to Ron Line Report. Very, very different Ron Line Report. Today, we're actually in the studio with my guest. He's been kind enough to join me today, and we're going to talk about his career, his former career as a steroid manufacturer, underground steroids. At one time, he was one of the biggest manufacturers of underground steroids in the USA. Peter, welcome, and thanks for doing this. Appreciate it. So I'm going to get right into it. How did you get into that business?
I was just kind of like every other guy who was taking steroids. I would probably get some for some other people just to get my stuff for free.
Yeah.
And then at a certain point, my girlfriend at the time, she worked corporate America stuff, and she knew she was going to get laid off. And she kind of knew I could get some things done and asked me if, I could make some money another way. And I kind of said to her, yeah, if I want to do this, I'm gonna do it the right way. At that time, I knew people who I used to sell to, like from what I was doing, a notch down. And then basically she fronted me the money to get it going. I started out with $7,000. She gave me a $7,000 loan to get some stuff.
Yeah.
I think I was paying $30 or $35 for a bottle. And then at one point I was in a halfway house, and, I was calling all the people I knew to try to, move the stuff. And then this kid told me, he's like, yeah, my buddy makes it. So, yeah, I said, okay. And at the time, what did I get? You remember the old British Dragon?
Yeah.
Somebody wanted that. Like, that was like one of the things I was able to get. And I was asking them, because I couldn't get all the compounds like that. And I was like, he goes, oh, my buddy makes the tags. And I was like, can he counterfeit this? And that's kind of how it all started. And it got to a point where it was like, okay, like, what are these numbers? How does this work? And I sat down with this kid and I was like, listen, if you can get me these tags of a legitimate bottle or a counterfeit something.
Yeah.
After I find out how the prices went, I was like, I can make a lot of money.
Yeah. So, you were just reselling previously manufactured stuff. How did you go from that to actually manufacturing your own? Because that's a big step up. That's a lot. It seemed like a massive undertaking.
Yeah. No, it was definitely built from the bottom to the top. So once I was introduced to that kid and I learned how to make it, I asked my girlfriend for more money because I was like, I'm never going to be able to move this at this number the way I wanted to do it.
Yeah.
Because when I found out what it costs per compound, I was like, okay, like that's how it works. Like if I'm paying $35 a bottle now, you at the time, like a kilo of testosterone was $500. If you're dosing it at 250, you're getting 400 bottles per kilo. Okay.
Yeah.
I had a limited amount of money to start. So thinking long-term, because I thought this out to the end, like this is where I want to be in a couple of years. And if I'm going to do it, I'm going to have to do it like this. And I took a chunk of the money to buy a couple kilos of test and then a half a kilo of this or a few 100 grams of that. Okay.
Yeah.
You're not making the same amount of money because it costs more money for the smaller amounts.
Yeah.
But knowing that I was eventually going to get to a certain point, I either made no money or very little money on the other compounds, because if I wanted to go steal the people who were selling it, the distributors, I had to come with a real number that they could play with. Okay, so it took me about a year or two before I was like buying a kilo of everything. Okay, because if you're not buying a kilo, then you don't even have a chance of competing against anybody else, unless if they are and they're not buying a kilo, they're underdosing it.
So, everybody gets the same raw powder. I think there's only, from what I understand, there's only a few companies in China that make like all the raw powders, right?
Correct.
So, you have to order them, and then do you end up losing some? Does customs catch some of those? How common is that?
It's not that common. Kind of depends, because the kid taught me how to find these companies online. Okay. And I'll tell you this, once you have like a couple good companies that they're real.
Yeah.
I wasn't a big fan of going and shopping for more, because it's just a fucking matter of time until one of those is a DEA setup thing, right?
Yeah.
But it's nice to have 2 or 3 to bounce numbers off of. So, sorry, I lost my train of thought. So when you order from them, if it gets seized, they'll send it again.
Oh, okay.
They'll send it again.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously just getting the powder is one thing, but there seems like all kinds of, vials and pill presses. And how complicated was it to get all that in place?
I originally didn't make any tabs for the first few years because the way I saw it was getting the pill press and all that stuff, that when it was presented to me, it was like, yeah, I'm not doing that. Because I think this kid who taught me originally, he wanted to start making tabs. And I was like, dude, let's put it this way. If you don't make these right the first time, you're never going to be able to sell them again because they're going to be garbage, fucked up, falling apart, anything like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not trying to start all over. Like, I just started making money. Okay. And the thing was, the first one he ever got, he ended up buying it legit from LFA tablet presses, registered it with the DEA, because you can go buy one, but you have to register it with the DEA. Okay. And his friend said, I'll do it under my name. And I was like, okay. So then I kind of saw the amount of money that was there for tabs, and it's just as much as it was for the oils. Yeah. And once you figured out how to do it and fucked up, I'll give it a go now. Okay. You know what I mean? And there was big money in the tabs too, because at that point, my provider that gave me the raw powders, they'd sell already pre-made tabs. You can buy pre-made tabs, so that's how I would do that. Okay. But I couldn't hold those in stock because it kind of gets expensive buying tabs. Buy the tabs, I repackage them, sell them like that.
I mean, so like you said, I could buy a pill press and register with the DEA, but aren't they going to say, what does this guy need a pill press for?
Well, I'm pretty sure that they're going to come by and check it out. If you're saying, hey, I'm a dietary supplement company. Okay, fine. You better have a setup and a real thing where you're making vitamin B tablets. Yeah. Because odds are nowadays, especially now, they're going to come check that out. Okay. Because that's what they want. They want the pill presses.
Yeah, because pills, the OxyContin and stuff, Vicodin. That I assume that's what the FDA, the DEA, that's what they're really looking for is the rec drugs.
That's what they want.
Yeah, because that's what's killing.
They're making the fake perk 30s and the fake Adderalls. Because at the time when I bought my pill press, which was kind of cowboyish for me, I bought mine on eBay. Bought it on eBay, had it sent to my residence.
Whoa.
My because there's nowhere else to send it. Like I said, it was pretty out of my normal. And there was an 18-wheeler on this truck. The lady calls me up and says, hey, do you have a loading dock? And I said, no, loading dock. I'm like, why? She's like, things 98 kilos. And I was like, oh, yeah.
What?
I was like, okay. I was like, yeah, no, we're good. I'll get it off. My landlord at the time is helping me unload this thing off the back of an 18-wheeler into the back of my truck. And I'm sitting there looking down like, are the fucking police coming? Yeah.
Wow. So,
and a couple of years later after that, that was when Trump started pressing China, because you could get them on Alibaba, eBay. Now you can't get them. Now, if you want to get them, you have to go through the routes of buying all the parts separate and then assembling it together.
Yeah, because it seems from what I've always heard, like pills are more commonly faked, underdosed crap. Like Anavar is.
You need all the other right equipment when it comes down to it. Like the majority of the liquids, the injectables, they're underdosed. Okay, over my time span of doing it, seeing what the test came back as of levels. Yeah, nobody's your level should be high. Okay, right. Very, very high. And I've never seen them come back. I don't think I've ever seen anyone's come back as much as mine came back, because the one thing I did when I started was everything was dosed properly, because at the end of the day, if there was a problem, you weren't going to be able to say to me that it wasn't good, that was done properly every single time. Yeah. It was never underdosed.
I don't know if you remember Red Star of China.
Yeah.
He was a local guy. He was living in Canton. Bruce, I know him pretty well. He prided himself on everything he had was totally dosed right. It was exactly what it said on the bottle.
Yep. When it comes to the tabs, the thing with the tabs is you have to have the other equipment to mix the raw powders with the pill binder properly. Okay. And if you're not doing that, then it's tough to get the correct mix. Okay. And also the bigger the tabs, the more raw powders in it. Trying to think of what my it's been a while, but okay, so 100 grams of, like, say, Anavar. 100 grams of Anavar will make you one package of 50 tabs dosed at 20 milligrams each. Okay, if you're making a 6 millimeter pill, I think it was 300, 100 raw to 300 filler. Okay.
Yeah.
Now it's easier to mix that than it is if you're making, let's go 8 millimeter and then up. If you're making the next tab size up, you need almost a whole kilo of filler with that 100 grams of raw. And you need to mix that evenly throughout all of that stuff. So it's easier to disperse the raw powder in between a smaller amount of pill binder than almost a whole kilo. Then if you don't have the right equipment to do it, then, you know.
And were you doing this yourself, or did you have people that were doing this for you?
I did it all myself for a while, until it got to a certain point where I need to make thousands and thousands of bottles. That's when I took on, you know, one of my best friends that I grew up with. Only very few people, like when I say few, like 3. Okay, that's who do, because no one needed to see this. It was just one of those things that I knew I'd get in a lot of trouble for, and people love to talk. Everybody always, my co-conspirator, I was actually a retired sheriff, and you say all the time, everybody tells one person. Everybody tells one person. You know what I'm saying? And it's true. Everybody has to tell, like, their best friend, their wife, whatever it is, and then they fucking tell one person. And then you're in a shit spot once that hits the wrong person to hear it. And thank God with steroids, like, people can think you're selling a lot. They never think it's on that scale, because not a lot of people know how it works, you know, and it's a very, like, niche type thing, you know.
So, I mean, I'd be terrified. Were you frightened this whole time? I mean, sounds like you weren't any stranger to you'd been in some kind of trouble in the past. I mean, were you worried?
Oh yeah, I've been arrested a few times.
Were you worried this was going to blow up and you were going to go away for a long time? No. Okay.
Let's put it this way. The way I thought it out and the way I planned it out was, I'm going to get to a certain point. I'm going to knock everybody out. And when you get to the top, you have a very limited time at the top, because then it's only a matter of time till you're the one getting taken out.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'll tell you, for the first 6 or 7 years, I not a thought in my brain, because at the end of the day, if I'm not doing a hand-to-hand in the parking lot, I'm not dealing with anyone I don't know. And until the end, me personally, I only saw about 7 people. Okay. And I saw them like clockwork, and I'm walking into their home or they're walking into mine.
Yeah. Okay.
And so you're not going to catch me like that. Okay. So if you can catch me one of those 7 times doing that, good luck to you. Like, in the way it was at the end, like, I didn't have to worry about customs, because in the beginning, things used to go into customs, and I used to have a bunch of addresses. Customs takes your package. They just send you a letter and say, hey, we've got this package, and this is what it is. If this is yours, come down here and fucking, you know,
get arrested.
Or they say have documentation it's yours. If you don't answer this back, or check this box, say it's not yours, and, like, we'll destroy it. If you don't answer this back within 30 days, we'll destroy this package, and then you just never use that address again.
Yeah.
And I had a few addresses spoke, but things are more organized, and depending on the companies you use, they have remailers. Like, this stuff is going to a warehouse, a legitimate warehouse, okay, real company, and then they're sending it to you through USPS. USPS can't open email. Oh. You don't have to worry about it, unless the way it's supposed to go is, the only way USPS can look at a package, that's why they ask you if there's any liquid or hazardous materials. If something liquid in there breaks open, the package gets wet, then they can look at it. Okay. If the package falls down, breaks open, and then they see something illegal in there, then they can look at the package. Other than that, they can't go through your package. So once it's in the US, I'm good with it. Okay. And toward the end, where the amounts were that much, like that exposure was 2-3 sets of packages. You know, once it's in my hands, good luck.
So how fast did this grow? How big did it eventually get, your operation? How many years did it take you to get to the peak of the operation?
It took about 10 years.
Wow.
10 years. I mean, and I was making good money in the middle, because as time went on, you always pick up people, because some people do this for extra money. Like the the best period of time to sell stuff is from March till about July, maybe August. Like that's where I call like that's what you want to be ready for. Okay. And usually at the end of the summertime, I call them summertime heroes because they're the people who like to say they don't do steroids and take a little something for the summer and come off. And they usually want to continue their cycle. And the guy's always like, oh, I can get you something in 2 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever. And yep, that guy gets picked up. That guy gets picked up. That guy gets picked up. And they never go back because it's kind of hard to find someone who's always has it at whatever quantities you want at the price that I'm giving it to you at all the time, because I'm doing it for my life and my business, like everything. That's what paid for everything. Yeah. This guy's doing it for extra money. So it's not that important to him. Yeah. It was everything to me.
So how many, I don't know if you know how many overall units?
About 3,000 units a month. That's generally what I did on an average. So toward the last 2 years, I was doing about 40,000, anywhere from 40 to 45,000 in sales. So say sales because it's not all profit. Okay. Yeah. And that's not even counting like growth hormone kits. Like I didn't manufacture those. That gets expensive. Like, I mean, what was I paying? I think I was paying like $65 per kit, and I was taking about $300 a month. But so call it $7,000 because then you gotta pay for the shipping. So you put out $21,000 to double your money back, right? Yeah. Okay. If I took $21,000 and put it into powder, I'm gonna make 5 times that amount of money. And the kits are big and bulky, the pain in the butt. And then when you get in that many, they don't put them together for you anymore with the pretty boxes and the stickers. They're like, yeah, you do that. Huh. Yeah.
So why'd you even mess with those with the girls?
People want them. Oh. You don't want to give them a chance to go somewhere else. There's a lot of things that is just you don't want to give them a chance to go somewhere else. Okay. Yeah. And I mean, I still made money on them. Like it's just I didn't like it.
The profit margin was much less.
Yeah.
So did you had your own brand for a while that people knew and were loyal to?
Yes. Like definitely well known.
Okay. So how many I guess the question is at the peak of the business, what was this business earning like yearly?
I was easily doing $500,000.
Okay.
Easy the last 2 years. And that was let's put it this way, I could have made more. I could have stolen everybody there was from anybody there was, because at the end of the day, I dictated the price. Okay. If you sat down in front of me as someone looking for someone like me, like you weren't walking away from there unless I didn't like you or like your best friend was doing what I was doing and he was selling you the thing, selling you the stuff. Otherwise, there's no way you're walking away without me taking your business.
So you've said you could have made a lot more money if you'd done certain things differently. What if you could go back, do things differently? What were a couple things you would have done very differently from what you did do?
I don't think there's too much I would have did different.
Okay.
The way I saw it was, you don't want to piss everybody off. Like that's how people how many people are out there CIs and their friend's a cop or their father-in-law. Guess what happens? You start taking that kid's money away. He makes it, hey, those kids on steroids. Like that's how I thought. Yeah. Okay. Like, and you know what? It's called being greedy. I just would rather keep it safe. And the people I dealt with, I knew they were fine. They didn't sell any other drugs. Okay. They strictly sold steroids. I think maybe one person sold weed. I mean, if anyone dealt with anything else, I didn't want to deal with you. I didn't want to deal with gang members or anything like that. Like, I need to know they're good, solid people, just like I was, and I felt safe about it. They trust. There would be times where, hey, stuff hadn't come in yet, and they'll pay me all the money without me giving them all the stuff yet. And me, what do you need? I'll take the money later, and I don't have to worry about it. I'm not calling them. Yeah, that's what I want to deal with, safe people.
So, like you said, it's always a matter of time. Sooner, if you do this forever or try to do it for your whole life, you're going to get caught eventually. So how are you supposed to know? I mean, how does anybody know, okay, this is it. I better shut everything down now and, count my losses, take the money and run, basically. How would you even know that?
Yeah. Like I said, I knew you'd only have a certain amount of time at the top, and I pretty much knocked everybody else out. My plan was It just didn't end up. It was a little bit too late. I was planning on opening the gym.
Yep.
And by the time the gym was open, I was going to be done. And that was going to be my last run of stuff. Okay. Just before like the beginning of that year, the guy who was my co-conspirator, one of his bank accounts got flagged. Okay. Which means they're going to come to look if they're not already looking. Okay. And as soon as I found that out, it was literally like, it's over, it's done. Like, so when they come, there's going to be nothing there. Like, I never got caught with anything in my hands. I'm charged with conspiracy. They don't need to catch you with anything. Okay, so basically when that happened, it was like, everything's done. Like, let me get rid of all this stuff. Started clearing everything out. So, I mean, I made some money, but I ended up selling my business to somebody else because it basically, I said to them, hey, if you got X amount of money, this is how much money you can make every month. I'll introduce you to all these people. They all still need stuff. Yeah. I'll run it through it. And then, because you could pay me. And then I did them a favor by saying, you don't have to pay me up front because I know you're going to need this money to get this going.
Yeah.
You can pay me later. Okay. And whether I ended up finding someone, because at the end of the day, I was going to have no money coming to me at the end of the day. So that's what I did. As soon as it happened, it was everything's done. Everything's done. And anybody I dealt with was like, dude, you finally, you serious? I'm like, yeah, I'm done. Like, you don't understand. That's going to the government for a flag bank account for suspicious activity. So they're going to run every credit card, every bank account, everything. And they're going to see, hey, this guy's bought in 20 gallons of MCT oil in 150,000 vials in the last 2 years. Like I want, like, you know what I mean? They're not going to go away. Like they're going to come looking. So basically, thank God I had the discipline enough to say, I'm done. And that was it. Because the last 8 months they were watching me, I wasn't even doing anything. I was already done. But they already had things up to a certain point.
So it wasn't a matter of like somebody ratting on you or anything like that. It was, did you get arrested and convicted basically because of that?
What I didn't know is somebody already had.
Huh.
Yep. Somebody already had. And that happened, which it was like, God did me a favor. It was like, here you go, buddy. Like, that's on you. And I could have kept going, but me trying to be as safe as possible was like, it's done, because they're definitely going to come. I didn't already know. They already had a CI who had already given them some information. And they were already watching me by this point. They were watching me for 3 years. This was probably like a year and a half into it. So,
yeah, 3 years is a very long time. And you must have known well into that, at some point, well into that 3 years, that you're being surveilled.
Nope.
No. I mean, how were they watching you?
They GPS trackers on my cars. They were allowed to track my phone. They could. This is like in the discovery. It comes with all the warrants and all the things they have to apply for, and they got to apply for them so many times. That's why, like the file I sent you, you see so many things. That's them constantly reapplying for the stuff, right?
Yeah.
One of the things, and it's funny because the way they try to protect people in the CIs, they try to say I mailed a package out to somebody and a narcotics dog hit on the package. It's like, that's funny because there's no narcotics in that package. So how did the dog, who's not, that's not a narcotic, how did he hit on the package? Good story.
Pretty smart dog.
Good story. So yeah, lost my train of thought. Where was I going with that?
Oh, I'm trying to figure out how you got caught, because it seemed like you were being very, very careful when you were getting out.
Between the bank account and the CI, they stumbled upon me. They were lucky, is basically at the end of the day. The feds take their time. They don't come for you until they got you. And if you start to watch somebody and you're seeing me drive around in my car, my $50,000 car, which isn't even anything crazy. Yeah. Some 40-year-old man should be able to drive,
right?
But not going to a job every day. Okay. I'm going to, a nice restaurant to eat. Like I'm very low key. I wasn't going to a nightclub. I wasn't going partying. But I'm not going to work, and I'm kind of doing whatever the fuck I want, and then they come across this kid. Yeah, so when I got arrested, they had me on 6 controlled buys, and I was present for one of them. Okay, because this kid was such like a nobody that I wouldn't even meet him. The guy who was my co-conspirator, I'd be like, yeah, go meet him. Okay, he was from another state. He probably got in trouble. He was like, oh, I can get some steroids or this or that, thinking he was safe and no one would find out because he's coming down to Mass.
Yeah.
But what this kid doesn't understand is there's only one person that was ever met here, and that was you. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I wasn't there. Like if you're meeting him, that means I knew exactly who it was. So that's what they fell into, and that's when they started taking the packages. So in the discovery, I think they've got like 3 or 4 different packages, and they'd always test the pills. And I think they waited on me, or waiting for me to like slip up to figure out more stuff. They knew what I was doing, but they didn't know. Okay. Yeah. And the way they ended up figuring everything out at the end is like, they knew what was going on, but they didn't know how it all worked and who was who. Is when I was making the gym, the guy who was my co-conspirator, we had a big blowout, and I just told the guy, I go, pound sand, get the fuck away from me, stay away. And I knew exactly what he was going to do. He's a retired sheriff, and this was after his bank account was flagged. I know you're going to run to the police. I know you're going to. In my the memo to the judge when you're sentenced, in there it says he went to the police, and he connected he gave him everything. He connected all the dots, told him how everything worked, told him who everybody was, and it really put it out clear for everyone to see, because they knew, but they didn't know like that. Because if they did, or they were watching me that much, because I mean, I'm not that bad of a person. Like, you can only watch someone so much, like here or there. But that's what the GPS trackers were for. Because like, I'm going to sell my business. If you're watching me, I'm driving with all my materials. I got a fucking disassembled pill press in my car, going over state lines to drop this thing off. Why wouldn't you pop me there? Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's a few times where like you could have got me good. Like, you know what I mean? But you can't watch someone like that all the time. They're not worth it, you know? And also, they probably want to see who I was talking to, like see who I was associating with. Because when I started the gym and they figured out that was a place where stuff was being held before it was a gym, they set up a surveillance camera that just taped it all day. So anybody who went by there, they would see, and they'd probably see who I was associating with. Yeah. You know, it's just getting more information. You know?
Right. I mean, I know that from watching enough, cop shows, I know they wait until they have all the evidence they need. Because if they move too soon, that they're not going to have enough to get a conviction. Right. Did this co-conspirator guy get in any trouble, or the fact that he was so cooperative make it okay for him?
He ended up getting a year probation. I think we were. You're not allowed to talk to the other people in the case at all. So I mean, never mind. I don't want to talk to the guy anyways, because we had some major issues after that. But they ended up. I think the prosecution offered both of us 3 years probation because neither of us had any convictions. And I'm sure that what came into play is him telling them everything, because he was a retired cop. So I'm sure he was more worried about getting like super screwed. But he had this like this real bad sickness. Like the the guy could be dead right now. He's going to end up dying in the next couple of years. So I mean, he wasn't going to go to jail anyways. He was too sick to go to jail. You know, so he got a year probation, and I ended up getting 2. They ended up giving me 2 because I had no prior convictions. But let's say if I got in trouble again, I'm smoked, because the way the point system works and the federal stuff, if I got hit with another federal conviction, I'd probably do 5 years minimum. Minimum.
So what was the DA? What were they pushing for? Were they pushing for jail time for you?
No. Because I mean, I wasn't doing it for the last year. My opinion is the kids I sold my business to, they became me. So it wasn't a waste of time either, because those people had things to take. I mean, I didn't own a home. I didn't own anything that they could take from me. They wanted assets. Yeah. These kids had motorcycles, homes, cars. Yeah. That's what they want, you know? And that's just the way that maybe they felt bad for me that I was so broke. I don't know. Okay. By that time, I mean, let's put it this way. They knew I was living in the gym. They knew I was, they knew I had nothing. They check your bank accounts, like lost my car. They do it. Like, again, I wasn't, I was planning on stopping before the gym opened up because I didn't have any delusion thinking you could do this forever. Like,
Yeah.
definitely not. Like, I mean, in the last year or two, I used to say all the time, I don't even want to do this anymore. Because it gets to a point once you get to a certain point, you're like, man, if I get caught, I'm fucking screwed. I can clear as day remember one time I had the best feeling followed by the worst feeling. Like, before I had a place to rent out for like a little headquarters thing, I had other apartments, and I used to have those the black, like the generic opening, like black file doors things that you open up, and I had like 5 of them, and they'll have like 4 or 5 shelves on them, and I just got everything made, and I'm looking at all these file cabinets full of shit, and I'm like, holy shit, like I'm making a shitload of money, and then you're like, man, I'm fucked if I get caught. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm screwed. Like, this is no joke. I mean, like, it got to a certain point where you're like, I'm probably gonna get in the same amount of trouble if I got this or I got that. So, like, you just kind of like, screw it, I'm all in, and you just go all in.
Yeah, it's like if you rob a bank and you'll walk out with $2,000 versus $1 million.
Right.
You're probably going to jail the same amount of time anyway.
Right.
It's bank robbery.
I'm looking at things like, I'm always keeping an eye out on in the newspapers and news, all this stuff. Like, see if someone got arrested, someone I dealt with got arrested. Like, because there was a case like that at one point. Kid that I dealt with, probably the one person I didn't like dealing with, because the kid used to drink and all sorts of stuff, and the kid got arrested. And I was actually supposed to see him like the next day to give him some stuff. Just like, block you, I'm done with you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not just keeping up on that. But like, when I'm looking at what these people are getting caught with, and they're getting 2 years, I'm like, dude, I'll do fucking 2 years for $1 million any day of the week. Really, that was my thinking. I will do 2 years. Give me the 3. If I have $1 million in cash sitting somewhere, I'm good.
So
I'll take it.
I guess everyone's going to say, where'd all the money go? Because you made so much money. I know when you opened that gym, or a couple of years ago, you spent a ton of money on equipment. You let me train there a couple of times. It was very well equipped, but it never really took off. Is that where all your profits went?
Well, basically where it goes is that, and so by that point, okay, so never mind. You have money, and I'm paying all the bills. I was trying to figure out the number when I was coming over here. I easily putting out $10,000 a month between I'm paying the rent. I'm paying on myself $3,500 rent. Right. I got my 3 dogs. I got my $1,000 a month car payment plus my insurance. Then, I like to go out to eat. I'm going to expensive places to eat. Okay. I'm spending anywhere from $5,000 to $1,000 a day. So there's 30 grand right there that month.
Yeah.
Okay. On food. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm still able to save money and then throw in, my best friends. Hey, dude, I've screwed up this week. Like, I need to pay my rent and this. Can I get like a $5 grand? Here you go. No, I'm not getting that back. Okay.
Yeah.
Like stuff like that. And then the idea of it was, so I had an LLC, right? Okay. That's how I would take money in from the big people that I knew from out of state, right? To, I don't know, like whatever it was, personal trainer and this, that, the other thing. Okay.
Yeah.
And I've had that for a certain number of years. And the plan was, I'll be able to get a loan, no problem, to start the gym up, and I'll have my cash sitting over here at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
And to make it work. And once the gym was already in motion, and now, like, let's put it this way, I was like, oh, I'm going to do the gym thing. This guy's bank account's flagged. It's like, now I'm definitely doing the gym thing because I'm not going back to normal life. Like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
Which I wish I did, but it's basically like, okay, I have X amount of money sitting here, and I think at the time I had 670 something, whatever it was, in cash.
1,000.
Yes.
Okay.
and I'm sitting there going for loans, and on paper, I'm showing I'm making 150 grand a year, right? I'm representing my work bay / headquarters that I'm going to turn into a gym as a personal training studio, and like I'm looking to expand. Yeah, nobody would give me a loan. The biggest loan I was offered was 14 grand. Like everybody's like, yeah, well, we'll give you a business line of credit, and after a few months, blah blah blah. And it's like, yeah, I'm not going to need it then. So me not knowing what I didn't know, I was like, fuck it. Like, this is what's going into, like, this is where the money's going. This is what I'm doing. Like, I believe this is going to work, and that's where the money goes. So you're talking 673, then I'm still paying everything else. definitely didn't slow down my lifestyle at all too much. Like, still don't know if I can spend money on food. Like, basically like, yeah, and it goes quick. Like, it's not that hard. It's really not that hard to spend that much money. Like, it's not.
Oh, food, especially nice restaurants. You can piss through a lot of money that way.
Dude, I'd leave the house with $1,000 every day, and sometimes I'd come home with money, sometimes I wouldn't. Like, it goes fast. It goes fast. And when you're doing stuff with the gym, like, everything went wrong. It was supposed to be a 3-week build out. It took 3 months, so there was another $20,000 I didn't plan on spending on rent. Like, anything that could have went wrong with that went wrong.
That's Murphy's Law.
And then some, and then some, and then some. It's just like, unless you've ran a business of any type, like, you don't think of all these little small things, like everything you have to pay for, with like the toilet paper, the pens, the fucking, like, the stupidest little shit. You're just like, dude, I just spent $100-something on this, and you're just like, fuck, I need a fucking vacuum, I need this, I need that, I need that, I need that, and you're like, shit, and then it's gone. It's gone quick.
So it sounds like you were the smartest thing, or the most fortuitous thing you did, was to sell your business before the shit hit the fan. Had you not done that, if they had been watching you and taking you down at the height of your business, would you be sitting in jail right now?
Yeah, I think so.
So, I mean,
I'm surprised I'm not sitting in jail now. Honestly, like, I yeah, because if I was still doing what I was doing, I get the pill press, all the stuff. Like, if they came in when I was doing, like, fuck, I would have been all over the goddamn news. Like, it would have been something like that. Huge steroid bust. Like,
I wonder, I mean, you're old enough to remember when the feds were really going after steroids hard. That was, they had a bug up their ass about steroids for a long time. And then as the opioid crisis got worse and worse, people were saying, why are you wasting your resources and time going after these steroid manufacturer dealers? And we got so many people overdosing fentanyl, Oxycontin. We had thousands of people dying in this country every day. Do you think, in a way, you're lucky that you were never involved in that, and that's what seems to be the real problem that the feds are devoting their resources, and rightfully so, to?
And the thing is, you can get anything you want from China. Like, I was offered those things, and I wanted nothing to do with them, because I know that's what they're looking for. Like, this is the only reason I get it for so long, is because no one even cares about them. Let's put it this way. I knew where some of the stuff was going from some of the people. Fucking, there's a state troopers barracks buying fucking half this. At one point, there was a guy who was a lawyer down here, and he became a judge in New Hampshire to sell him stuff. Like, they're taking it too. Yeah. Like, it's not killing anyone. It's not bad for you. The type of people who are taking these things aren't on that level of causing problems. They're usually professionals, police, judge, regular, normal people, not people who aren't trying to rob and steal over it. It's a completely different thing. Like, that's why it's funny, because I was saying to myself not too long ago, like, between all these, like, influencers and all this stuff, it's very wide open now. Everybody talks about it. It's all over the place. It's just only a matter of time until they're like, you know what? There are way too many young kids, because there are too many young kids all taking the stuff, and it's just not good. It's not good. It's only a matter of time till they clamp down on that really bad. Like, that was another thing too. Yeah, it's different. Like, I think they're looking more for, which kind of connects everything. So, like, when they brought me in after I got arrested, they sit you down, like, I'm using the public defender, and they tell you right off the rip what you get in charge with, what they have on you, and what they want from you. And I'm like, yeah, they wanted to know the money routes. They wanted to know where the money was going into that, because they're probably also connected to all the other stuff that's coming from China, who's getting the money back there. Because up until 2019, so, like, it's funny when Bitcoin started getting big and people are trying to tell me about it. It's like, kid, I've been using this shit for like the last 6 years. You're not going to tell me anything right now. Bitcoin used to be anonymous. You could buy and send it, and nobody would know who it is. Now everything's connected to your card. You can't buy it like that, okay? Because if I need to go send 30 grand worth of money for payment, I can send that the next day, no problem. Like, no problem whatsoever. You can't do that now, okay? So, I mean, it got to a point where I do what I do, but like I knew somebody who I could pay cash to, then I'd pay 15% on it, and he would get it sent to me. So it's not connected to me or anything like that.
Right,
And
right.
he's a Bitcoin person, so it doesn't look weird. He's always buying and trading.
Yeah.
That's how I'll get around that. But there was a period of time where they would take cash. Okay, that was a big thing for me because a lot of places don't do that. They'd have me send the cash to another person in the United States, and then they're getting the cash to them over there. So when they stopped doing the cash thing again, it was like a kick in the balls. Thank God I solved that problem. But you have on the majority of these like Coinbase and all this other stuff, you have buy limits. Okay, you have like $5,000 a week, and it's like, bro, I need 50. Like, you know what I mean? Like, then you have to have other people buy it, and then you're just raising red flags all over the place.
I mean, I like you said, you have to keep anybody who's doing anything that's against, criminal, I guess you could say, you have to keep your circle small, because every time you bring another person into your circle, you increase your chances exponentially of someone getting caught, someone informing, someone talking to someone. You said everyone tells one person. I mean, I can't imagine the paranoia that you live with 24/7 with this.
You know what? Yeah, you deal with it. You deal with it, but toward the end, it was a lot because for a long time, no one knew what I did, and then it gets to a point where everyone knows you do, because once someone finds out they get it from this guy and you're connected to them, like everyone knows without knowing. But like again, you'd see me. I never talked to anybody. You never see me hanging out with anybody. Like some people would be like, "Oh, he's a dick." This, that, that. It's like, bro, I didn't need any new friends, man. I don't need to talk to you, because you know what happens? You get comfortable with me one day, and then you start asking me fucking questions that you shouldn't be asking me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Or you ask me for something, or what do you like? I don't need it. I don't need it.
Yeah.
I'm good without that question, and I'm good over here without you in my life, buddy. Like I'm good. I have the people near me, and I'm good.
Boundaries.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you're aware, there's supposedly a big drought of steroids right now. And I don't understand.
I've heard.
Yeah, because China, I mean, we have no jurisdiction. The feds can't do anything to people in China. That's freaking communist country,
Right.
10,000 miles
That's why
away.
they're trying to get the money people. They can't do shit because they don't think they know where the thing's coming from.
Yeah. So do you know what the deal is? Why is there like a problem with people getting steroids now as opposed to, in years past?
Yeah. So one of the years it's progressively gotten more strict on their end down there. So in 2020 is basically when I made into 2019 going into 2020. That was when I made my first almost like $1 million buy. When I say $1 million, like if you got top profit off of everything that was coming in, this would be it. I just broken up with my girlfriend, trying to find a place to live. And I already have like a good amount of stuff. Like I'm getting ready for like whatever it was. This was in November, and I'm sleeping in a hotel, and my provider ends up emailing. She's like, "Hey Peter, we're not doing this anymore. The Chinese government said like Trump was pressing about something, and this was like their response. Like, and the lady was like, when the Chinese government says don't do this, you don't do this." And I'm like. She's like, so if you want anything, you have up until January 1st. Before January 1st, you have to get the payment in, and we'll get the shit sent to you.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there scrambling, because I'm like, fuck, I don't have enough. I mean, I had a good amount, but I'm like, I don't want to go back to normal life. I was like, I got to get enough of this. My life just fell apart, partly because of this. I want to have some money together here so I can make something happen. So I ended up talking to some people and getting some cash together, and got a good amount that I felt good about. I was like, oh, great. So basically at that time, and I asked her when I said, is anyone going to be doing this? She's like, I'm sure there's going to be someone doing it, but we're not. Like, okay. And I'm like, okay. And I still had like another two kind of people I would deal with, but this is my favorite person to deal with, So that happened. And then literally I'm sitting there saying, because now it was going to be tough then COVID happened, right? In the span of COVID to when like stuff opened back up, it gave everybody enough time to like sort through it, like test it out or whatever what they were doing, because I was like, nice, I'm gonna have all this shit and no one's gonna be able to get it, and I'm gonna kill it and call it a day. Yeah. Unfortunately, it didn't happen like that. Now, like they're kind of back up and running. So I heard something the other day. Okay. And like I said, I don't want to pretend like I know everything, but I know I know what I heard. It was something like, because basically they were making it illegal for you up until that point. They could sell it to anyone they want. It's up to the person on the receiving end to know the laws. Okay. Sure. Then it got to the point where China was like, you can't do that. You can't sell it to them if they can't have it. Okay. Like that's what they're telling them. Now I think if I remember correctly, it's something like you can't sell it to someone who's not like a lab or a producer. Okay. Yeah. So now they've got to take it, send it to a real place. Okay. Shady. And then backdoor out to you. Okay. And I don't think you can say, hey, I'm getting 200, 300 kilos a year. And then all of a sudden 1,500 kilos a year. And then think about it. Then that person's probably going to get that piece going out the back door. And then you're worried about, like, because they do lose packages. Right. Like, that's why I think it's taking longer to get it. And like, like I know some people who still play around with it. Everything costs more money now. I've been told that literally everything's doubled in price.
Wow. Yeah.
So like what I used to pay $500 for a kilo test is costing $1,000 now. Yeah. You know what I mean? So like that's another thing too. So you can probably get it, but you're looking at those big wait times. This is where like me saying if that was like this before, shit, I would already had it all. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like you waiting for nothing. And then I'm sure like I said, that's it's something to do with that. Like, because I hear mass, fucking mass. That was a primo shortage. Yep. I mean shortage. They make it. They make it. They make some more. Like, you know what I mean? It's like it's not like that. I mean, and I also think they do that on purpose,
just to drive up the prices.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean that didn't make sense to me. We say, well, the primo ball in shortage. I'm thinking, well, they get the powders from the same companies. Don't the companies don't stop making primo ball, and all of a sudden,
I'm sure they make X amount like at once, and they have it there. Then maybe if it goes faster than it's supposed to, it might take a little bit longer to like replenish the stocks. Yeah. But then again, too, remember these are going to real places too. Like they're supplying real people, yeah. And they need to get it first. Like they're going to get it first. You're going to get it at the end. You know what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day, that's why I see it. Like, and then too, it's like, where are you on the list? Like, I know for me, if I wanted something with the amount of money that I used to spend, all I had to do was say, lady, send me all this, and they're sending it. Like, there's no money coming. Like, they know the money's gonna come.
Yeah, they know you're good for it.
Yeah, it took me years to build it to that, but like, are you the guy only getting a kilo of this and a kilo of that? Like, they want to supply the guy who's getting 20 or 30. Right? Like, that's, and again, there's not a lot of people doing it on that scale. There isn't. I mean, like that I know of. I mean, I should know if you are doing it like that. Right. But I mean, the only people that are probably moving more next, I've seen some guys on YouTube or whatever, and they're like, oh, I sold $1 million worth of stuff. You're selling it online, bro. And you wonder why you got caught in 2 years? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't even know who you're selling it to. Yeah. So, like, because at one point during when I was doing it, I was thinking about doing something like that. I was like, dude, well, had somebody like literally set the whole thing up, like where you advertise and all this. And I'm like, dude, I mean, if I could make X amount of money every month, I was like, I'll do it for like 3 months and call it a day. And then it's like, what happens when you want to do it again? It's hard to say no.
I see these. I've seen these people that have the websites and everything, or the Instagram accounts, and they're selling gear, and it just boggles my mind because, the feds have unlimited resources. They have computer hackers of the highest order.
Right.
And these people can hack into like Chinese banks if they wanted to.
Right.
It's not like they're not going to catch you if they don't want to catch if they want to.
You just begging for it at that point.
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
and I don't know enough about, if I was like a computer geek guy who knew everything, like I don't know, but I know there's ways to get around stuff, but I don't trust you enough with my life to tell me otherwise. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like VPN's this, you cover that. And it's like, yeah, but you still gotta mail that thing out. The cash is still gonna go to an account. Now Bitcoin's not anonymous. So like it's gotta get somewhere, and they'll sit there and watch that until they get the money. Like, no, like it's just, I don't even know how people have the balls to do that. Like, it's just, you don't have the clientele. And then another thing too, it's like, what's it dosed as? It made the right way. Like, what are you getting? You know, like, it's just, I know too much stuff. Like, I hear about what people do out there now and like the prices and they're like, oh, I'm still getting it for this. Like, the funniest thing to me is when people's prices stay the same, because I was doing it when inflation started happening. Then remember, materials start to cost more money, right? And then it's like, so how does this price stay the same if it costs more money to make it? And everyone gets pissed off and like, yeah, it's going to go up $5. It's like, how can everything in the world go up in price, but this doesn't go up in price? Like, it's like, you're kind of stupid, like, to think that that's not made right. Like, it's like, there's a ways around it. Like, I mean, when you go get something tested, I mean, I tell you one thing, if I hear about a Palumbo test kit again, I just, and I like Dave Palumbo, but like, I can see you can make something that can identify a compound. Right. You can't tell me how pure that is. Oh, if the color changes fast, get out of here with that. Okay. It's a bunch of bullshit. You can go get tested, your test levels. You can't go get your trend levels tested or your DECA levels tested or anything like that. Like, you can't do it. I think you can, but I think it's very, very expensive. Like, that's how they do like the Dallas Macabre thing, like with all his stuff. Yeah, there's a way to do it, but I'm sure it's ridiculously expensive. Yes. The regular everyday guys that do it. So yeah, he might be making his test right, but he's pulling off of something else. And what people don't get is you buy a kilo of Tren Ace, you're getting 1,000 bottles out of that kilo. You make it dosed at 80 instead of 100. Like, the majority of people ain't going to notice that 20 milligram difference, and you just made 200 more bottles, okay, to make up that price. Like, you know, someone's dosing test at 250, they do it down to 225, 200. Like, they just made another 100 something bottles. Like, that's how they pull off of stuff and make it and make up those losses. Like, that's how they do it, because everything, like, especially now, I know, because like I said, like, I've talked to some people and I hear the numbers and I'm like, wow. Because before to make $1 million, you spend about 125,000. You put up 125,000, I could do $1 million. Okay. Yeah. Now double those numbers. Now you're talking about 250. You know what I mean? You gotta remember that's 250 of just raw powder. So now you're talking about you're gonna need another $30,000 worth of materials to make that, you know.
It sounds like the temptation would always be there for anybody to underdose, because you're going to make more money. So why would anybody? And
if you don't get crazy with it, no one's going to really notice unless it's test, because they can test
it. Yeah, I mean, like the late George Peterson died a few years ago at the Olympia. When they did his autopsy, he thought he was on 4 or 5 different compounds, and all they could find was test. Everything he was on was actually just test.
Really? Yeah. It's funny because I used to watch all the YouTube things, specials, these guys, and I remember watching one where the guys, 2 huge guys, and they got their blood tests, and he's saying what he's taking, and he said what the number was. I was like, oof, like that's low. I was like, he said that number, and it's just like everybody out there thinking they're taking. That's another thing too. You hear about the doses, these huge doses people are taking. Yeah, but you're probably just taking about what you should be taking. That's what it comes down to. Yeah. Like I remember a point where I was doing like it was like one of my last shows. I was like, you know what, I've got taken over 1,000 milligrams of test in a week, and I was like, I'm gonna do some stuff here, like, you know. And I'm sitting there taking 2 shots of test E dose at 300, 2 mLs every other day. And literally someone showed me their test levels from taking 1 shot a week, and I was like, oh shit. I was like, I better chill out. Like, that number was so high for the nanograms per deciliter. I was like, holy shit.
So what was your test levels at the highest?
Let's put it this way, I stopped getting my levels tested a long time. I went off of my friends who would go, they would send me them right away, and I knew what they were taking. Yeah. So
I mean, I've heard like 10,000 levels of T levels of 10,000.
That's what I think. That's probably what it is. I think that his came back. I think it was 2,500, 3,000. I'll have to look at it, and I was like, holy shit.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, if a lot of guys who are on TRT, 200 or 300 milligrams a week, they'll test out at close to 1,000 for their total test. So it would make sense if you're doing 1,500 or 2 grams a week, it should be several times. It should be your test level should be 3, 4, 5,000.
I've seen some high ones. I've seen some fucking high ones. Yeah, 7,000. It's just like wow. And that's that's what it is at the end of the day. A lot of people ain't dosing it right.
And so I guess my final question for you, Pete, is if you could go back in time, do it all over again, would you still have done what you've done, or would you have never gotten into this business at all?
Yeah, I'd do it again.
Okay.
Honestly, I'm not in jail. Call it shit luck.
Maybe if you were sitting in jail right now, you'd be like, oh, I should never have done this. I should have gone into construction.
Obviously, but you know what? I still got to do a lot of things I probably wouldn't be able to do without doing that. Just life experiences, period. Vacations, like buying nice cars, just doing whatever I wanted. That feeling is a good feeling. That financial freedom thing. The only thing I would change is stopping a little bit earlier. Just not giving as much money away to people as I did. Because I gave a lot. I definitely gave. I probably spent more money on other people than I did on myself. Because at the end of the day. But other than that, no, I don't know. Let's put it this way. I used to shoot heroin. Would I change that? No, because it made me the person I am today. Those life experiences is what formed me today. You can't look at it like that. There's always something positive always comes out of a negative. I'm just waiting for that to happen.
Because some people would say, clearly, from hearing you speak, you're a bright guy. You're very good with business. You're a very hard worker. If you had channeled all that into something legitimate for 10 years, maybe you'd be sitting on top of some huge business at this point. Not to say that you still can't do that. You're not an old man or anything, but do you have people that say that to you?
Yeah, I said it myself. I always wanted to stop before that happened. Before that happened, because you always see that stuff this guy would have been this if he just. And it's I didn't want to be that guy.
Yeah,
I had my plan. It was just a little late. It was a little late, and I learned things, and I won't make those mistakes again. But I've also learned a lot from the gym and all these other things. I tried to do another one with my buddy, and unfortunate things. Now that's not going on, and not our not any fault of our own.
Yeah.
So hopefully that still happens one day. But no, I wouldn't. Yeah.
Okay.
Take it as a positive.
It's a great attitude because you can't change the past anyway.
No.
So if you sit around crying about what you should have done or didn't do, you're going to be a miserable human being. So, that's all the questions I had for you, man. I want to thank you so much for being honest and transparent and coming over to my amazing studio, meeting my dog.
Yeah,
so
no problem.
Yeah, so that's it. So guys, that's been the Ron Line Report with my buddy Peter. Appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you next time.